I just wanted to check, is everyone aware that there is going to be a presidential election later this year? Yeah, well, I just wanted to check. I mean, like, that you were awake, I suppose. Because it seems like if you have been anywhere at all, you have heard about it. You have probably heard more than you wanted to about it. It seems like, or at least feels to me sometimes, like that's all we ever hear about. And it's a lot. What I'm finding really interesting is lately I've noticed a really striking similarity in some of the messaging that is coming from both sides of the political spectrum. I've heard almost these exact words: if you don't vote for our side, democracy is over. If you want to save America, you have to vote with us. I have heard those, almost exactly those same words with different parties. Isn't that odd? Now, I want you to make sure that you're seated comfortably and your feet are firmly on the floor. If you're standing up, please take a seat, because this is important. There are intelligent and caring Christians who believe this on either side. I know this is shocking. And if you're thinking, oh, I bet she's talking about, that's what I'm talking about. We often assume that everybody thinks like we do. Sometimes we even have a really hard time imagining how someone could possibly come to a different conclusion. I'm guilty of this myself. I still struggle with this. But this is true. And there are very likely, like I'm 100% sure, that anything, any position that you can take on a political issue, there is someone in this room who believes the opposite and is confused as to how anyone could believe what you believe. I know this is, well, I don't know, maybe it sounds simplistic, but I really believe that this is the start. This is what it takes to get it right. And that it is more critical than ever that we understand this. We are kicking off a new sermon series, and in fact, a whole church-wide campaign today about just this topic, about how we can treat one another in this time of rising tensions and strong feelings and big emotions and polarization and, all the things that we hear about all the time. And our key verse is found in the book of Micah, chapter 6. I'm going to start with verse 6 for some context. The prophet says, after realizing the magnitude of how far we have come from God's calling, with what shall I come before the Lord and bow myself before God on high? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has told you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God? Let us hear what the Spirit is speaking to God's people. I want to say that last part just again. Will you repeat this after me? Do justice. Love kindness. Walk humbly with your God. The key word here that I want to focus on in this passage is translated here in the New Revised Standard Version that I shared as kindness. But it's a bigger word than that, so we need to look at it a little more deeply. The Hebrew word that is used here is chesed. Can you repeat that? Chesed. A little more phlegm, but that's okay. It's fine. This word is important. It is used 250 times in the Hebrew Bible. That's what we call the Old Testament. 250 times. And it doesn't have just one nice, easy English equivalent. It's a very full and rich and nuanced word. It, at its core, is oriented toward concern for another person. So sometimes it is translated compassion. It is about commitment to provide care or help to another person. And so sometimes in that sense it is translated kindness. Sometimes it is used to imply that this providing aid is to someone who has no right to expect that. And so that would be translated perhaps mercy. It is about a deep commitment to another, a relationship. And so oftentimes it is translated steadfast love or loyalty. In fact, the NRSV uses that translation, steadfast love, 174 out of those 250 times. What is so significant about this word is that chesed is a primary attribute of God's character. And it demonstrates how God acts toward humanity. Consistently, it is a description of how God behaves toward us. Adam Hamilton says then that what God demonstrates toward us, compassion, kindness, mercy, steadfast love, and loyalty, is what we're meant to do for others. It's a powerful word, and it's a high bar. Kindness is powerful stuff. There are researchers from various fields like psychology and sociology who have studied kindness, people who practice kindness in an intentional kind of way. The research shows over and over again are happier, are less stressed, healthier, more successful in business even. They have better marriages. They even tend to live longer. Our wisdom literature from the Bible, for example, Proverbs, reveals several truths about kindness. Proverbs 20:28 says, "Kindness and faithfulness protect the king. He supports his throne by kindness." 21:21 says, "Those who pursue righteousness and kindness will find life, righteousness, and honor." Clearly, kindness is important. It's powerful, it's good, and it has the strength to change things. What do you think it would look like if we believed and acted upon the belief that our daily mission was to spread kindness? Like if we woke up in the morning with the goal, today, I need to spread kindness. What kind of reaction, I think what kind of dominoes, ripple effect would happen if we all had that unifying purpose? I have this little reminder, and I just got it yesterday. It comes from this channel I watch on YouTube. It's a paper crafting lady, and I love how she ends her videos. She always says, "Be the reason someone smiles today." Be the reason someone smiles today. So I got this to remind me as often as I'm drinking water that it's my job to be the reason someone smiles today. This is great. Okay, cool. You might be thinking, but what does this have to do with the election? What does this have to do with politics? And what business do I have talking about politics? Well, we're going to get into that. Did you know that the late Supreme Court Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Antonin Scalia were, outside of work, very good friends? They actually enjoyed each other's company and chose to spend time together. And if you read any of their opinions, that might be surprising because they were often at opposite ends of the spectrum. Their views often conflicted. They argued a great deal. But when Scalia passed away, Ginsburg reflected very tenderly and admitted that she missed her dear friend. Anybody heard of Senator Orrin Hatch? He was a very long-serving senator, the longest at the time of his death in 2022, I believe. And he was a Republican from Utah. He was good friends with Ted Kennedy. And again, if you've heard of either of those men, that might be quite a surprise because Senator Kennedy was about as far to the left side of the political spectrum that Hatch was to the right. They frequently used heated words. They got in each other's faces. They debated and disagreed a lot. And yet they were friends. When Kennedy died, Hatch talked about that they had argued many, many times, but afterward they would hug each other. They had done good work, he said. A poll that was conducted in 2022 and published that September showed that 75% of the Americans who were surveyed, who represented all different places on the political spectrum, 75% agreed with this statement: to restore peace and unity, we need leaders to model kindness and understanding, even with people they strongly disagree with. We need leaders to model kindness and understanding, even with people they strongly disagree with. We need healthy debate and difference. Those are good things when it is constructive, when the end goal is the best interests of all, of our whole country, our whole world. So that's not, and I don't believe should be, a difficult sentiment to agree with. Guess what? I think that is our cue. Our, as in the church, but more specifically, here, us. Those of us right here and listening in, we can be that model. I really, really do think that. In fact, of all the places I have served as pastor and attended before becoming a pastor, I think we have the most potential for influencing our community in a positive way. We have tremendous hearts. The ability to do so much good. We do awesome things all the time for our community. And I believe that we do need world leaders who model kindness and understanding, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I think we have to model it for them. And so I would like to extend a challenge to you. I have signed us up for the kindness campaign. The Church of the Resurrection in Kansas City, in the Kansas City area, a United Methodist church, has started this a few years ago. And it's a campaign to, especially during election season, to promote kindness and understanding, to decrease polarization. And I think we can make a difference. I think we can step up and be that model for DeLeon and Comanche County. In fact, I think they need us to do this. So, the first thing that I would like you to do, if you will accept this challenge, is there are these lovely yard signs. See this purple sign here? It is a yard sign and has little stakes that you can put that in your front yard. And we have one we should have one for every family. So if you would pick one up on your way out of the building this morning, they're in that entryway. There's some that are on your way out that door, or if you go down that way, if you've parked down by Heritage Hall, there's some right by that hallway. So pick one up on your way out and stick that in your yard when you get home. And then I'd like to invite you to continue learning with us. The next 3 weeks, we'll be getting into more specifics of what we can do to show kindness, specifically around this time and in the midst of this season, and how we can be a model for understanding, for listening, for building bridges across difference. Because I think the church has the answer that everybody needs. Not everybody knows that yet. And I think we can make a difference. And so I hope that you will join me in that and begin this week by picking up your sign and putting that in your yard and finding yourself a memo. Maybe you don't have to buy a tumbler like me, but you can write it on a sticky note and put it on your mirror. Put something in your space that will remind you every day to choose kindness, to be the reason someone smiles today. However you want to word that. But I think if we do, we're going to start seeing some momentum, some change for good in our community. And I think it can. I think kindness is contagious, and it can just ripple and build. We can be the leaders that our world needs. Let's do this. Let's choose kindness. if you have been joining us and are trying to discern what your next steps in your faith journey might look like, whether that's to accept Christ for the first time, or to reaffirm your faith in Christ, or to join this community of faith, if you are don't have a faith home right now, we would be honored if you would consider joining with us. We know that we are not perfect. We do not all agree. We don't have all the right answers, but we do believe that we can do it together, that we can stick it out together, and that will make a difference. If you'd like to make a decision, if you'd like to share that decision with me this morning, then I'd invite you to come and let me know that as we stand and sing together. Let us lift our voices in song once more.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and oh, thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely, assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die.
Thank you again for choosing to begin your week in worship with us. We are so grateful that you are here. And thank you for joining us in this call to choose kindness. I hope that you have a wonderful week, that you have plenty of opportunities to share with others the kindness you have found in Jesus. Go in peace.